Hi there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shelby and today I'm going to be doing my weekly reading wrap up from the past week, the week that had Thanksgiving from November 19th till yesterday the 25th. I did read a total of 4 books this past week. I didn't get to read as much just because I had my in-laws and brother-in-law from out of town and I helped cook Thanksgiving dinner and just wanted to spend family time, and so I didn't do a lot of reading. I ended up reading 2 physical books and 2 ebooks, so I'm just gonna quickly go over all of them. I will link all of them down below to their Goodreads if you want to check them out, as well as my Goodreads if you want to be my friend. So let's just get right into it. I read 2 thrillers, like suspense novels, and 2 like women's like romance novels. So the first one I read is The Surrogate by Louise Jensen. This is a suspense thriller type of book. I read The Date by her a couple of months ago and I loved it, and I didn't like this one quite as much, but I did enjoy it. This is about a married couple named Kat and Nick. They have been having fertility troubles for a long time. They are looking to adopt a child, but they've tried to adopt 2 different children and both adoptions have fallen through. And so when Kat runs into an old friend named Lisa who says she's done surrogacies for people, it seemed like fate when Lisa offers to be their surrogate and carry a baby that is their flesh and blood. The only thing is Lisa and Kat have a really bad history together. Something bad happened to them when they were 19 and they had been best friends their whole upbringing. So it is a little bit odd for her to rely on Lisa for something so important, but she's so desperate for a child that she does it anyway. And after she gets pregnant, like weird things start to happen, and she wonders if Lisa is doing it out of the kindness of her heart or if she is trying to get back at Kat in some sick way. So there are lots of twists and turns, and at the end there's a huge reveal. I did not see it coming, and it was a really interesting story. I thought it had, like I said, a lot of twists and turns. It was very suspenseful, but I didn't like it as much as The Date. I was not as like gripped into the story, so I gave it 4 stars. And then after that, I read a book called Revelry by Candy Steiner. I had read a couple of her books recently, and so I decided to pick this one up, and it is about a girl named Ren. She's in her late 20s and she just got a divorce, and so she feels like she needs to kind of refresh herself. She owns a boutique and a fashion line, so she decides to kind of step away from that, go an hour outside of Seattle where she lives, and rent a cabin in the woods for a whole summer, and it's in this really small community. Well, she rents the house and she starts to make friends with all the people around there, and she catches the eye of this really handsome guy, and he doesn't seem very friendly, and they have a really weird run-in together at her house. She screams because she falls, and he comes and basically saves the day and sees her butt naked because she was in her hot tub. And his name is Anderson, and he has a lot of bad stuff from his past, and so they both are dealing with things from their past, and he is not really outgoing because of it, and they do have a romance that starts, but both of their pasts kind of get in the way of their relationship blossoming into something more. And I really enjoyed all the different characters that were in this story, all of the people from that town, and I thought Ren was a really cute girl, and Anderson, I thought he had a really good heart even though he was a little rough on the surface. I thought it was a really good book. I didn't like it quite as much as the one I read last week. I think it was called On the Way to You, but I really did like it. I gave it 4 stars as well, and I would highly recommend it. And then after that, I read Daisy in Chains by Sharon Bolton. I've been meaning to read this for quite a while, and I'm really, really happy I picked it up. And the storyline of this was really interesting, and it got a lot of really good ratings on Goodreads and good reviews. And it is about a murderer named Hamish Wolf. He is convicted of killing 4 young women who all are plus size, so it's like he victimized plus size women. 3 of the bodies have been found and the 4th has not been found. So he's been in prison for 2 years. He has a whole life sentence for these murders. And the family and the police of this girl that wasn't found, they just want to find her body and have some closure. And he has been sending letters to a woman named, I think, Maggie Rose, and she is a true crime author as well as a lawyer. Her life's work works on getting people out of prison who have been wrongly convicted of murder, and she then writes stories about them, true crime novels, and she's made a lot of money doing it. So she has been receiving letters from Hamish. She doesn't believe he's innocent, so she doesn't really want to see him, but she's kind of intrigued, so she agrees to see him, and the police believes that if she goes to see him, maybe he'll admit where this fourth body is. So she agrees to see him. She knows that she'll keep her wits about her. She's smart. She doesn't have to believe him. But then something about him is very charming and intriguing, and he almost changes her mind. And she agrees to take him on as a client, and some crazy things start to be happening, and weird things are happening to her at her home. And you're wondering who's good and who's bad. If she is good, if he is good, what about the police? You're kind of just questioning everyone in this story, and it kind of jumps perspective between everyone. And I thought this was a really cool story, and it did have a huge twist at the end. I did guess it before it was revealed, but I still thought it was a really, really good twist. And I highly recommend it. I gave it 4 stars, and I got it off of Book Outlet, and I know they have a few different versions of it on there. So I highly recommend going on there and picking up because it was a super good price. But yeah, 4 out of 5 stars. And then the last book that I read is by an author I've never read before. Her name is Lucy Score, and it's called Pretend You're Mine. And this was actually quite a long story for a romance novel. It was about a girl named Harper who she found her boyfriend cheating on her, so she quickly goes out of town to go stay with a friend, and about halfway there she realizes she left her phone and her wallet at home, so she doesn't have any of her things. She figures she would come back for it, but then her gas light goes on and she's running out of gas. She doesn't have her phone or wallet, so she pulls over in like a bar parking lot, and she sees some guy kind of bullying on his woman, and she gets in like a fight with him to protect her. So she gets basically knocked out, and when she wakes up, she sees a really handsome man in front of her face, and his name is Luke. And they go inside the bar, and his sister is the bartender there, and they all strike up a conversation, and he offers for her to stay at his house since he has a house she can stay in. Since she doesn't have anything of hers, she can't like rent a hotel or anything, and he offers, oh, I'll take you back to your place tomorrow and get you your stuff. And a romance does form between them, and he decides that maybe if I have her be my pretend girlfriend, my family will stop trying to set me up with people. So he says, hey, I mean, you're between jobs, you're between places, you can stay with me, I'll give you a job at my business as long as you pretend to be my girlfriend for a month. He is deploying in a month for 6 months to Afghanistan, so he's like, it's only a month, you don't have to really, it doesn't have to be committal. And so they start dating, pretend dating, and she really likes his family, and they have a really intense chemistry, physical chemistry together. And so there's this relationship there, and then you're wondering, like, is it gonna survive these 30 days, or is it gonna dissolve and then he's gonna go away? So you think that's what the whole story is, but it turns out that is only about half of the story, and then the second half is what happens between them after, whether they withstand that 30 days together. So I feel like it could have been 2 stories. I feel like one could have been them before and then one be after, and it'd be a duology of a series, but instead it's kind of a longer story. I have really mixed feelings about this story. I gave it 4 stars because it was really enjoyable to read, and it was a really easy read, but it wasn't like a favorite, that's for sure. I really didn't like Luke, and I think what I liked was all the other characters, and I really liked Harper. I thought she had a great personality, but I didn't like Luke. I thought he was a jerk. He said he was incapable of loving her. He said she was an inconvenience, and he used her physically, and I just didn't really like who he was. But I really liked and respected their past. They both were suffering from different types of loss, hers being family, his being something else, and I really respected that. But there was just something about him I didn't like. I really did like Harper though, and I enjoyed the story, and I would read more by Lucy Score, but this one definitely is not like a top romance novel for me. So those are the 4 books that I did read. I can't wait to get back into my normal like reading schedule this week. Like I said, I'll link them all down below, and I'd love to hear what you guys have been reading, and have a great one. Bye.